two things happened. We had a break of a parabolic uptrend. Not good, typically. Oh, so bulls are jumping in and are going to pull back a little to the most recent high test line. Ooh, I like that. Yeah. It's the break, retest, continue. Break, retest, continue. I think that's fair. The bears tried their move. Where is that? That's right in here. The bears went hard as hell. And the bulls actually piled on right there. So let me tell you what I see here. This is not really part of my segment, but we're just kind of bullshitting. At almost every price level, there is going to be a trading range. I couldn't think of the word. There's going to be a trading range, like no matter what. And the key is if you can identify it. So we're either going to have like kind of a slow parabolic uptrend, and we're forming it right now. Like that's totally possible. Or we get rid of that. Put that up where there's lots of tests. Or we're just playing ping pong. Ping, 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 ping. We're just bouncing until the market decides what it wants to do. That's probably more likely what's going to happen. So if that's the case, your target is going to be kind of in here. This 12-7 range. But I mean, I don't like trading this kind of stuff. This bothers me. I want to trade a big sweaty breakout. Like be the guy who longs basically anywhere in there. And then, you know, take profit at some point. Even where it is now, if you were long from back in here, like margin long, and selling here, you're fine. Like you're happy. It's got 10% easy. You know, then you can multiply that with whatever your margin is. But here's the thing. A lot of people have taken profit. And here we are still holding these highs. Like just a few days ago, we were in the 11.5 or below. This is the 19th. Today's the 22nd. Okay, so 3 days ago, we were basically in the 11s and happy to be there. And now we're holding above 12.9. Like, this is ridiculous. So, what I suspect is going to end up happening, even if we pull back, but almost every time there's a shove, it's multiple weeks in that area just to consolidate for the market to decide what it's going to do. I mean, even here in this recent deal, we were there 6 weeks before it finally decided not to up. All right, so it's been about 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and kick it off. This is the first chart I like to start with. So first thing we're going to look at is Bitcoin, Bitcoin USD. Let me see what the chat said real quick. Yeah, I think we had a solid breakout and we will consolidate about 12.5. Yeah, that's totally reasonable. Absolutely. I could see that. All right, so let's check this out. Consolidate above the 12.5. Yeah. All right, so Bitcoin has broken out. You'd have to have been under a rock not to notice this. This is, of course, what's been going on. In less than a week, Bitcoin's gone from 11, what's the low on this candle? 11.4 to 13.2. So in a matter of days, something we don't see a whole lot anymore, or haven't, a 15% move to the upside, breaking through several macro resistance lines. This is fresh on the heels of a multi-year bear market where the most Bitcoin could sustain was a move to the upside that hit about 14,000, which I think is our ultimate target for this up move, for a number of reasons. But the biggest being the market is bullish as hell. Another thing worth mentioning is if we go back in time and I turn on, so we're on weekly candles, so every candle is a full week And here you'll see I have the 20 EMA on, which is this blue line. Every single time the EMA has made a new high. So for example, here during the bull run, the EMA topped out at about $10. Once it broke that $10 range again, it started a fresh new bull run. Okay. So that happened once. Once, maybe that's an accident. All right, let's see. You could argue it there, but I'm going to skip that. I'm just to be totally conservative with it. Let's just say act like that didn't even happen. All right, so here's a second instance where we made a new all-time high in January of 2014. Again, this is the moving average, the exponential moving average on a weekly. And this was about $600. And again, once the EMA broke its prior all-time high, once it's gotten above it, that triggered a new bull run. Now, that's one way to look at it. You know me, I've been around talking about Wyckoff accumulation, right? So this is really what I consider accumulation. The this particular area right here, then the breakout and consolidation, you know, uptrend, blah, blah, blah. But just another way to look at it is if the moving average itself starts to make a new high, buckle up. So we've seen that twice. And now, just recently, the prior all-time high for the weekly, for the moving average, was just at 10,200. And here we've closed multiple weeks above that now. In fact, we're on our, let's call it our third week, and you can see it's explosive. And there's several other indicators that are just as bullish, if not more than that, but that's just something I like to point out. A lot of people miss that. And it's easy to miss the forest for the trees, I get it, but every single time this has happened, that's what these kind of arrows are trying to show. Each time that's happened previously, it's been the start of a new bull run. So you could, this being the weekly moving average, you could continue that upwards like that. All right, so macro scale, we're bullish. Oh, you know what I always pull up and I didn't look at? Let's check out the Bitcoin hash rate. And let's just make sure the health of the network is not in question right now. Okay. Fresh all-time highs a day ago. Looks like the network has there's all kinds of pullbacks along the way, but all in all, sitting at all-time highs. Nothing to be alarmed of. Everything looks really good. And again, if this started trending like sideways, macro, or even down, that's when I start to worry. So for now, I'm not worried. All right. One thing I do like to point out, and I like to point this out each stream, is the weekly 20 EMA is historically the floor of any kind of pullback during a bull run. Okay. So let me kind of zoom in and give you some eyeballs here of what I'm talking about. So you can see, I mean, going back to its infancy, it literally, and we're talking about like in 2011, somebody just turned on a 20 weekly moving average and they were bang on for one of the first big pullbacks and they were ready for it at 60 cents. God, wouldn't you love to be the guy who bought Bitcoin at 60 cents and held? So during bear markets, you can make the case that a bear market truly starts when price breaks below and fails to break back above this moving average. And then a bull market starts once price stays above the 20. And here you can see the multiple instances where even when it broke below, the very next candle it broke above again. So you would want to have multiple candles breaking below to really give you a signal that, hey, this is it, we're done. So here is 2015, 2016. Here, the entire 2017 run is riddled with these weekly 20 EMA touches. So one of the things I'm going to be playing this time, one of the plays I'm going to be making, hopefully, is trying to sell things that get too far away from the weekly, from this moving average in particular, and then buying on a pullback. Now, I would never do that with like my entire stack, but let's say you have 10 Bitcoin, doing something like that with 1 Bitcoin, maybe that could be a good move, right? But me personally, I want to wait till a very nice uptrend has started. And by that, I mean a break of the prior all-time high. That's when I'll get pretty serious. But for now, I'm not trying to play those games. That being said, while the weekly moving average is trending upward in a way that we do want to see, we've gotten pretty far above it. Like the current price is pretty far from the weekly 20. So as bullish as I am, let's be realistic. We're about 25% above our moving average that we historically come back and kind of grind along, or at least retest. So it would not be crazy to see something like a little consolidation, a week or two. You know, this is continuing to drift up, maybe a shove and a like real quick dump to retest it, which is literally what happened right here. It's not bearish in any way. It's totally normal. Wish I would have bought at 3,000 this year. Hey, Sir D, absolutely, dude. I feel you. Don't we all? But anyone who was in the game and watched their holdings go from 8,000 per coin all the way down to like 4,000 or 3,000 in a week, if they tell you that that wasn't scary as hell, they're lying. Like, even though I didn't sell anything during that period, because I mean, I understand the market, or I had faith that the market would come back. It doesn't mean it wasn't scary. That was terrifying. Thankfully, I did get some buys. I think really it was in there. I didn't like snag the all-time low or anything, but I did get lucky with some 5,000 buys. But all in all, my strategy was just to accumulate what I could kind of in here. But once we break the all-time high again, I'm hands off the wheel. I'm not going to put any more cash into it. That's just me. Kind of diminished returns at that point. And then maybe during the following bear market, that'll be something I do. That's just me. All right, so this is Bitcoin right now. Let's look at more of a granular, low time frame view and kind of see what's been going on. So just like I was talking about a second ago. Oh. All right, so just like I was talking about how this sell-off was completely normal, or not normal in the sense that like, oh yeah, anyone would do that, but normal in the fact that it's to be expected because we're getting back to our moving average. That is this. So what's funny is people who traded this as like a head and shoulders, the technical analysis way of doing this is you find the neckline, which is like somewhere in there. You measure it from the neckline to the head. So that's about 1,000, like 1,100 bucks. And then that is the target for the move to the downside. Okay, and it went about like 12 to 1,300. So if you played this head and shoulders and then you sold it on the break, you could have bought down here strictly using like traditional TA, which is really funny. A lot of people think TA is just bullshit, but on the 1 hour to 4 hour, it's actually, it's pretty useful. So if you sold in there, you would have bought back in there. I did not, because I'm not into the day trading stuff, but that's just FYI. Interested. And since then, it's been nothing but consolidate in this kind of upward move. This grinding that the price refuses to close below, again, from a macro view, that is the weekly 20 moving average. That is what this is. That's what we're looking at right here. So every time prices, and again, if you watch Twitter or if you're in Facebook groups or whatever, I promise you, the majority of people were super bearish right here. And they were calling for retests of, I can show you. You start getting charts like this. Oh, well, the horizontal support is right here. Gonna reload because this is just consolidating before it moves down again. So I'm gonna buy a bunch of the 8,600. Here we go. And no, you ain't doing it. Let's see. So we are in bull mode, and a lot of people are going to be arguing this along the way. But if you're of that mindset that no, this is bullish, like until we close below that weekly moving average, We are bull. We are full bull. Question from the chat. Do you day trade anything? I don't right now. And I'll explain why here in a minute. I have been buying on these dips. Like down in here, I was a buyer of alts. Because I watched, for example, Ethereum, I watched it hit $500 and then instantly fall to like 320, I think. So I actually have lots of Ethereum buys by pure luck in the 330 range. And so I'm going to ride that back up because it's my opinion that we're in a massive uptrend on the daily time scale. So if I'm buying here, I want to buy, so you have a high, a low. I want the next high. I want to be selling kind of up in here somewhere and then hopefully buy all right. So markets are all, you know, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high in an uptrend. And my argument is that's what we're doing right now because we've broken above this very critical price point of about $300. And now we're starting a massive uptrend. Now we may consolidate a bit more. And so that may bite me on the ass by not day trading it and selling like right now per se. But, like I could see something like this before breaking out. That would be completely normal. But for now, I'm very comfortable with buys where I have them because I don't think I can beat that. I also, I day trade bought Link at $10 and then at 8 something. So it was like somewhere above that. So I was a buyer in this zone. And if Link is doing what I think it's doing, where it's a low, a high, a high, a low, a high, a low, headed up for some new high, I want to be the guy selling up in here. So I do what's considered, that's more of what's called swing trading rather than day trading. I'm not trying to get a 1% move lots of times in a single day. I want to get like a 50% move that maybe took a month or 2 months. I'm good with that. And then have the patience to wait, let the market settle down, reset, you know, buy it again. Doesn't always work out because just like we saw with Bitcoin over the last 3 days, there are days when Bitcoin will move $1,000 to $2,000. And if you miss those days, like if you were not in position, it's hard to catch them again. Because even like you see over here, you know, Bitcoin had this awesome breakout and a lot of people bought late, Dave Portnoy, etc. And then it dumped. And, you know, everyone's burnt out. Oh, no, this is BS. I got screwed. You know, Bitcoin's not the real deal. Blah, blah, blah. So you really have to be in position at a time. That stuff. So I only will day trade or swing all percentage of my total stack. That's my point. That's what I was trying to get across there. Okay. This is my Twitter chart. Let me get my Twitch. So let's look at what some targets are for Bitcoin. We have several all-time highs. It's because when Bitcoin starts its uptrend, it has targets and it has previous highs that it wants to take out and usually consolidate or break above and then consolidate from the top and retest. So for example, you know, Bitcoin could not get over this 10K hump. It finally broke above it. It came back and it retested it before moving on. So there's a very strong chance we have something similar with these levels that are ahead of us. So let's look at what they are. So far, the 2020 high was this August high of 12,500 basically, and we blew it the fuck up. We already beat it. I love it. Makes me very happy. So the next target, you know, maybe we consolidate here a bit, who knows? But the next target would be the 2019 high, which is about 13,000, what is it? 13,750. So we've taken out the 2020 high. Next target's going to be this 2019 high. And then of course the 2017 high from the last bull run, which is 20K. So something to the effect of you know, break, retest, break, retest, break, retest is essentially what I would expect. On a weekly time frame, it would be, you know, you gotta push it sideways with consolidation, because again, you need this 20 EMA to grind upwards, and it's not going to move as fast as you want it to until kind of the end of these parabolic runs. But right at the start, which is like basically we're in here, it's going to take you some time to kind of get this thing up and running. Like for example, the EMA moved from what is this, about 500 to 1100 in from July to May, so almost a year for it to double. So it may take us over a year or right at a year for price to go up, to double from where. Who knows? Who knows? Personally, I think based on a very kind of a funny indicator that I'm using, I think we will see Bitcoin attack its prior all-time high by latest first quarter of 2021. At the latest. So that would be about 5 months from now, max. Best case by probably December of this year. And given all the headlines we're seeing and stuff now, I wouldn't put that out of reach. So let's see, where's December? Get a vertical line here. So December would be like that. So geez, though, that would be like straight vertical. And typically we don't see straight verticals like that as we're breaking out of accumulations. So I don't know. But what's tipping me off, or what's making me suspect it's going to be sooner than later, is actually my boy Litecoin. Have it on real clean. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so I'm using Litecoin as an indicator to kind of give me excuse me, to kind of give me some kind of feedback. I've actually adjusted it from where I did this. I think since this has more touches along the way, I think that's more reasonable. So the apex, which is the point where, you know, this is resistance, this is support. So the point where support and resistance come and meet, it comes to a close in February or March of 21, depending on, you know, how you draw this. Now, you may say, like, what the hell? Why are you talking about Litecoin? I'll show you. All right, so previously Bitcoin attacked its prior all-time high right in here, right in here. Okay, so Litecoin consolidated, and it was like the canary in the coal mine, so to speak, that right as Litecoin was breaking out is also when Bitcoin was attacking its all-time high. So that could have been a fluke. I don't know. You know, one time is a coincidence, as the saying goes, but we're waiting to see if the same thing is going to happen. So that would give it, you know, for this to match up. That would give us till, yeah, March of 21 for this apex. I don't know. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. That's something I'm watching right now. If this is something you're interested in watching as well, kind of keeping your eye on, I made it as a chart where you can just check it out off and on. I'll put it in the chat. Okay, so that's something like if you wanted to bookmark that and kind of, you can click the arrows and see how things are progressing and see if it actually is going to do that again. So like even a month from now, 2 months from now, you can see if that's starting to trend up and keep. But I just think that's kind of so. Note from the chat: I feel like 2019 is high is going to be an important resistance line for the bull breakout. I think that will switch the psyche from disbelief to hope. Now, what he's talking about is this Wall Street cheat sheet that a lot of people use. And he's talking about going from this disbelief to this hope, which is really the first step toward a massive, massive bull run. And this is for any market. Like, you can go back and apply this same concept depending on the time scale you're looking at. You can apply it to Apple, Tesla, gold, on and on and on. There's several assets that this will be perfect for. Now, here's what you got to worry about in crypto. Is that not all assets are made the same. For example, let's find a really good shitty alt. KMD. This is a good one. All right, we're making all-time lows. We've just consolidated for like a year plus, and now we're breaking in its price discovery to the downside. And it's just going to dribble down, 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 right? And there's an army of these. Like, I could go through the list. But for these, they've actually made an adjusted Wall Street checklist, and it looks like this. You have panic, you have the complacency, anxiety, denial, panic, capitulation, anger, depression, deeper depression, REKT, REKTer, ultimate REKTer, annihilation. And that is how some people will end up being, depending on what alts they think are going to be, you know, the big winners. Nano. A lot of people are accumulating in here. Oh, yeah. Going all-time highs again. And here it's like... Well, I don't even need to guess. Calculate it. We're another 80% down. So the people who bought in here are 80% more down. Qdom. Yet another one. Ren actually did really good. Rep. That's sideways. Strat. The sideways ones I don't mind because they tend to pump, just little scam pumps, and I like to play those. But I'm trying to show you that it's not like just buy any alt and play with it. There are, oh my god, like look at this. Oh, like what is this? Anyone who is buying in here is down 60%. Ugh. In 2 months. XVG. Christ almighty. So be careful what you buy, because you could be buying this and doing like cyclical Bitcoin runs, or you could be buying this when the devs just exit scam or dump on you or whatever because they have more stuff than. All right, so let's kind of go through our stuff here. Obviously, Bitcoin is doing great. We love it. Ultimately, we want to see it attack this prior all-time high, but Tex, just like you said, the first thing it's got to get to and beat is the first boss, just 13.8. So that's why I suspect we'll have some consolidation, you know, whatever it looks like, a break of that, and then an attack of the all-time high. Meanwhile, this is going to continue to trend. Now, what's interesting is we can kind of see what this EMA is going to continue to do. So right now it is moving. All right, so it's 10,684, 10,4. So it started at moving at about $100 a week to now it's $200 a week roughly. And if this price level holds, it'll only get steeper and steeper. So every week, let's see, this was like another 200, then 300, 400. So that's $1,000 already. 500 to 600, you know, there's another 1,000. So yeah, this is conceivable that by December we'll hit the all-time high, but it's going to take some chugging along. So we'll wait and see. I am more for it than against it because of the fact that the moving average is breaking above its prior all-time high. And every time in history that's happened, it's just been a sustained bull run. Hell yeah. Okay. What else? As Tex was talking about early on in the dealio, in the stream, Total 2. So Total 2 is something I've been watching since first breaking out of the sign of strength. Oh, what's up, RTS Gamer? Do you play... Oh, why am I in the StarCraft thing? Oh, dude. I didn't even realize. I played StarCraft a while back. There we go. Bro, I'm so sorry. Thank you for letting me know. My chat hadn't even told me. I've been on for like 30 minutes. That's embarrassing. Yeah. So I do play StarCraft, and I did the last time as well. And then what I'll do is I'll start a video about crypto and kind of what's going on in the markets, and then I'll play a game. And last time I played StarCraft, so I just forgot to update that. So my apologies. Thanks for pointing that out for me. Okay. Now, we just finished our Bitcoin discussion, and now let's look at Total 2. For those of you who are not super familiar with Total 2, what Total 2 is, it's the market cap for all of crypto, not counting Bitcoin. So they remove Bitcoin entirely. And why that's important is you can see how capital is flowing into the alt market. So literally anything that's not Bitcoin. And again, I always like to show this. Why I like this is because if you look at the accumulation range for Bitcoin back in 2015, 2016, and you look at where we are now for this Total 2, it is literally identical. All right. So we have identical accumulation, which is what this is saying is that the whales have been acquiring as much as they can in this particular level. And once they feel that they have enough, they push up and out of the level, and that's it. You never get a chance to buy in that level ever again. You're done. You missed it. Richard Wyckoff, old Dick Wyckoff, he is the guy who came up with this because he noticed that when whales were moving markets in the New York Stock Exchange in the early days, this is how they would do it. And it's not like it's just a fun thing for them to do. They have to do it. There is no better way for them to do it. It's the most efficient way to enter and exit a particular market. The reason is they can't just buy up everything, or they become super illiquid and they cause the price to spike way up, and everything's out of control. So everything has to be done in a very long time frame, super controlled method. So for example, they may be the buyers here, but then they're the ones to sell in here, like intentionally driving it down. And then they may allow it to go up, and then they're also the ones to sell it back down again to shake out any last weak hands. Old Dick Wyckoff, exactly. So anytime you see this kind of setup, especially with just prior to the break above the trade range, if you see just before that a terminal shakeout or a spring, which is what we see both in the Total 2 and in Bitcoin back before its last bull run, things get pretty wild. RTS Gamer, I feel like it would be good to play one game, trade, check market. Yeah. No, I think it's a good idea. My particular issue is I do have a job and I work for a living. So when I get on, I only have like 3 hours or so to do it. So but if I did it full time, that's a great way to do it. And like kill an hour or two playing some games and then go back and kind of get an update. Yeah, I'm with you all day on that. When I retire with my crypto gains, that's exactly how I'll do it. We'll circle back to that. Okay, so back to the topic here. So this is a pattern that will repeat with other alts. Yes. Okay. So RTS, I love that you're asking, and that's hilarious that you just like fell across this. But So total 2, since the market cap is making this signal, what you can do is say, okay, well, what alts make up the market cap, which is literally everything. But let's go through the other alts and let's see. Thanks for the follow, by the way, especially as new as I am. Every follow counts, so appreciate you. Ethereum literally made the exact same thing, which is why on these pullbacks, I was such a big buyer because I firmly believe we're consolidating before we break out. So Ethereum is one that I've noted. And again, this is all disqualified. This is my disclaimer. If we close below this 290 level on the weekly, it's it. I'm done. I lose. Neo is another one. So Neo is another one that's refusing to break back below the previous trade range. So this was resistance, 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 and now it's broken above it, and now it's acting as support. And anytime you see this, again, where just before you had a terminal shakeout or spring or whatever you want to call it, you have a break, it's going to be an uptrend, I'm telling you. But the sentiment won't feel bullish, okay? And that's normal. You're going to have everyone second guessing it because they're the guys that just got burned on this bullshit. They just lost their life savings and grandma's retirement and everything because they were the ones going long here and here and here instead of patiently waiting for this to develop and actually buying somewhere in here ready for the uptrend. See, people, it's hard to get your head around the time frame that these big dick whales trade in, but this is showing you. So here's total 2. This is from August of 2018 to August of 2020. This is 2 years. They have the patience of a monk. I mean, they'll take as long as it takes, and they will shake you out any chance they get. And as soon as you're the guy selling here, they're the buyers, and then they're ramping it up, and they just made a 4x, and they ain't stopping there. They ain't stopping there at all. Okay, so total 2. I've been saying this for weeks. I mean, you can go check the old videos, and I upload on YouTube and stuff too. But when the price dumped down to here, I was one of the guys saying, not to toot my own horn, but I kind of feel like I should here, that this is a not accumulation, a consolidation move before an uptrend, because it is proving to the greater macro market that it is not, it could have just as easily broken down. Just like it's broken above before and then it broke down and it was like a sustained down move, right? It could have done that here, but the market said, no, it is not time for that. So because of that, you see lots of alts doing the same thing. Many alts doing the exact same thing. So my particular favorite ones right now is Ethereum, Neo, ADA. And again, TRX, I didn't love it. I still don't love it. And remember, I gave my qualifier, it has to hold above the prior trade range. And if it falls back below it, all bets are off. TRX, the reason I did not like this one before is because of this blow off wick. And this is actually a sign of whales and such being out of control. See, what you want to see is a good strong up move, but not one that pulls like a 50-60% candle in one candle, like literally in a 4-hour period. As soon as you've done that, you've created way too much overhead resistance because there's buyers all the way up. And now anytime the price gets anywhere near these levels, they're going to be the ones selling down. Which is why a true accumulation period takes so long going sideways, because so many people are stuck above this level. Every time price starts to get to a certain level, you have both the guys that are buying here selling down, but you also have the greater market who are they just want their money back. Just let me out of this bullshit crypto game. You know, I bought back in here and I bought back in here and now the price is here. I just want out. So there's a little bump. I'm just selling, right? But what they don't know is that this is all by design and people are sopping it up. Now, this could come back to be some kind of accumulation trade range. But because it is broken below and is holding below, so it broke not just one candle, but a second. And it's kind of, you could argue where you have the resistance line. But regardless, I think everyone could admit that this is a clear break below. So I'm invalidating this. So I'm saying that this is no longer true accumulation. I had some buys down here, but as soon as we broke below and continued down, I was out. So I did take a little bit of a loss on that, but it was like a $500 bet and I lost 5%. It happens. Ethereum, Neo. I do not have any ADA, but I have a lot of Ethereum and Neo, and I'm a big fan of those. XMR, we're continuing to watch this. We had this parabolic move to the upside, and while it is... Wow, look how it came back and touched this, which was the previous resistance line that it broke above. So as long as it holds above that, it's going to continue to stay bullish. All right, let me catch up on some of the chat here. Welcome RTX, hey Tex, the Debbie Downers. This right here got me in the market. Good deal. This is what rustled my jimmies. Yeah. I feel like people's basic instinct is just jump at it because it's new. It's going to win big. Yeah. I think it will win big, but on the data and history Jack is going through here, not just crypto is good. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about market sentiment real quick, because we talked about this for a second. We're essentially in this disbelief phase. I completely believe. So we've had this sustained sideways, which is accumulation. This is how the Wall Street cheat guys choose to show it. But now we're starting this uptrend, and we've broken clearly above the prior downtrend, any resistance line, horizontal resistance. And we're kind of up in this, okay, you know, this is interesting, but it's probably still bullshit. Like, that's what kind of the greater market is. And you can go through a lot of your favorite crypto trader guys, and which I'm not like super popular in the crypto crowd. You know, maybe by the next cycle, maybe, because I feel like I give some better advice on a lot of these guys. But the real popular guys with 100,000 followers, etc., they're the guys who are like shorting here, hedging here. This doesn't look good. I'm hedging. This is crazy, because they are purely a reflection of the greater market, which is, this is all bullshit. I don't believe it. No. So the only guys who are really going to get in early are the ones who have like a truly macro view. And they're the guys who are like stepping back and saying, oh, I see. There are accumulation periods and then uptrends over like a 4-year period, and then accumulation, you know, some consolidation, and then an uptrend. Okay, so I just need to look for some more accumulation and then another uptrend. And then also with respect to the halving. So the halving is almost always about, the price is about 50% of the prior all-time high. You know, all-time high, about 50%, all-time high, about 50%. And there's all these patterns, and a lot of people just ignore it. So we are after the halving. The supply entering the market every 10 minutes is literally cut in half. Just, that is programmed into the code. So on this line, that is how it works. And this is what is continuing. This is what starts a bull run, in my unprofessional opinion, right? Because if some of the biggest sellers on the people bringing liquidity to the sell side, it's not often the buyers and holders, like maybe you or me speculating on it or whatever. It's not us. It's actually the miners themselves, because they're the guys who are selling just to pay the bills, like electricity and their overhead costs and their workers and blah, blah, blah. Talking with a guy I work with, he got in last week on low value, and his friends are all in disbelief phase because they got burned down the last time. They're telling him he's crazy. Yeah, 100%. Just like the guys who were selling, let's say the guys who bought $700 Bitcoin, which today we can look back at and be like, holy shit, you got in at 700. Like, they were getting laughed out because the price went down to 200 before it hit 20,000. Okay, a 100x run from the lows to the highs. All right, so if we have anything similar, 3,000 to 300,000, I mean, that would be the equivalent. But yeah, a lot of people, as you say, are going to be laughing this off and thinking it's BS. So we'll just keep an eye on it. So total 2 continuing its uptrend. I firmly suspect we're just going to keep grinding up. Some targets for the total 2 would be the prior breakdown, which is price right now at about another 70% move. So the entire alt market would move up about 70%. Now there's going to be big winners, big losers, you know, depending on which alt. Maybe Ethereum, Neo, and Link outrun the rest of the market, which is my hope because those are my big bags. But that does not have to be that case. Like TRX could just turn around and do something really crazy, be really successful. Who knows? That wick broke out. Looks nice. Yeah, on total 2. Yeah, that does look really nice. So here's the thing you got to remember. I drew it as this triangle, you know, kind of like wedge. It's called a symmetrical triangle. That's how I drew it. There are lower highs and higher lows. It makes this pattern. It does not have to be that pattern. All that Wyckoff calls for is some sort of accumulation. So maybe that's a symmetrical triangle, which is kind of like this slow grind up with relatively similar highs all the way across the board. You have all these wicks kind of like this before finally it just has the top blown off. So it would be something like that. Goes up. I mean, you never know. It could be a channel where it just accumulates within this channel until the price finally has had enough, you know, kind of ping pongs around until it continues its uptrend. You never know. So that being said, I drew this particular pattern. It doesn't have to be that. So we just got to keep our eye on it. And we'll watch what happens. That's why it's hard to really day trade this stuff, because you never know really what it's going to make. Like if it did something like this and you sold there, well, where are you going to rebuy? Like if the price is so squiggly, it's really hard to, I mean, you could hope you get it down here, but you really don't know what it's going to do. So that's why I like to buy as low as I can, like on these pullbacks. And then I'll be the one hopefully to sell in the next leg up. And then when it consolidates down, maybe, you know, rebuy it there. We'll just wait and see. Yeah. Yep, agreed. Yeah, so my favorites, again, because the total 2 looks so good, Ethereum, Neo, ADA. Obviously, XMR looks super, super slutty, and I'm a big fan of that. But it has to hold. It's the same rules. There no special takebacks. It has to hold above this. What was resistance has to prove to be support now. And if it can't, then it's not ready for markup. Now, I will, here's the caveat. There can be some battle at that line. Something like this. Totally reasonable. I could see that all day. And then before it breaks out, you know, multiple weeks of this kind of like up and down, back and forth. But it has to show that it has to show strength. That's the punchline. It has to show strength. All right. I'm having some headset issues. Let me. In the meantime, does anybody have any questions on any? Address anything directly? Realize I talk really project. That kills me. All right, so that's XMR. Link is another bag of mine, like I was talking about earlier, because it really respects the 200 daily moving average during its uptrend. Now, it did break below and then broke above, and the uptrend continued. And here we kissed along it. Did you get your Trading View cup yet? No, I did not. I DM'd him. I slid all up in them DMs. I was like, hey, how's your day? How's business? Everything good? Where's my fucking cup? And they're like, oh, it's in the mail. That's where I'm at. It's in the mail right now. So in terms of new alts, and there are a lot of them, and they keep coming, do you suggest to wait for its actual development for like a year or two? Bro, so this is what I tell everybody when we get into this discussion. All right, let me show you. It's like this. Like this. All right. You have your pie of your money. You, in my opinion, you need to come up with your risk tolerance. Okay, I'm not spelling all that out because I suck using it. But like for me, for example, I have kind of pretty hard rules that about 75 to 80% of my pie is all Bitcoin. Full stop. The end. No question about it. I don't have to give it another think. I don't think about it again. No matter what is in front of me, it stays Bitcoin. And then I have a section of my pot that I will use for different alts. And I'll spread those alts as efficiently as I can. And so maybe I'll have like 4 key alts that I like. Like for example, maybe that's Neo, maybe that's Ethereum, that's Link. And then this is like a hodgepodge of actually like what I call moon bags, where I'll actually buy some stuff and just throw it away on a treasure or whatever, like a ledger, and just have it there and just see what happens. You know, shit, crazy stuff happens during bull runs. So if you got $100 and you just want to throw it onto something, I don't think there's any shame in that, as long as the chart looks half decent. For example, like something like Nano did crazy returns, and now, you know, while it is in the sustained downtrend, throwing $50 on a Nano is not a crazy idea. Stuff just goes wild. Reducing the risk because the likelihood of all collapsing is low makes sense. Thanks for the answer. Yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing: a lot of people don't do as well. Let me see if my chart is still. Yes. Okay. So here's the deal. Maybe Ethereum was a big winner, right? Let's say this was your Ethereum pot here. Let's say it was a huge winner, and you made like a 10x on it at the time everything else went 20% up. You need to keep this risk profile. So reallocate. This is just me, you know, personally giving, you know, friendly advice. You do what you want. But if you have one of these bags that pulled a 10x, take some profit, put it into Bitcoin, which is on its big macro bull run, and roll the rest. You know, keep half of it in there, whatever. But keep an eye, like, keep in your head that at some point your pie will become very different. And at some point, before you know it, like maybe that's Bitcoin. You're only 50-50, where you have like Bitcoin and then alts. But you didn't mean for that, right? Like you didn't intend for that. But just because your alt place did really, really well, everything kind of got out of whack. So just keep an eye on that. It's the same thing stockbrokers do and bond management stuff, you know, all that stuff. So just keep an eye on that. That's the end of my rant. You're saying pull out from the alts as you win towards the sure thing. That's kind of what I feel like as well. Yeah, but like me saying that, I'm trying to. You got to come into this stuff knowing your game plan before you're face to face with a crazy gain situation. Because like for example, I was a big I was in the ICO for Dragon, and this chart doesn't tell half the story. Can this pull KuCoin stuff or no? TRX KuCoin. Yeah. All right, let's see how far back this goes. Ah, shit, I can't. Okay. So I was an ICO guy for Dragon Coin just by sheer luck. Like, it just caught my eye and I bought it, whatever. So Dragon Coin went from 4 cents or 5 cents to $10. No, $5. $5. It was a 100x situation. And when you see stuff like that, all of a sudden, so $1,000, like if you had $1,000 in there, is now $100,000. So the greed gets you. It gets you. Like, and you have this plan to kind of reallocate risk and this and that, and you're like, yeah, whatever. But then you see this stuff and you're like, oh my God, it was a 10x, now it's a 50x, now it's on its way to 100x. And now Dragon's actually trading like below ICO. So there's a lot of people who that greed bug got them. You know, that little goblin was on its shoulder, like whispering, no, just hold it. No, don't sell. No, don't take profit. Just hold on to it. So the winners are the guys who sell their alts and hold Bitcoin for the long term, like full stop. You got to know that coming into it, because if you start playing the game of, oh, what if this is the next Bitcoin, blah, 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 then you've already lost and you're going to lose your money. Guys like Bitcoin Schmitcoin, who's in the chat. Yeah, I saw KuCoin was right there, but it was on the Bitcoin pair. I wanted to make my point on the USD pair. But guys like Bitcoin Schmitcoin know what I'm talking about. And he's actually RTS gamer. If you like this kind of content, he's way more like refined at it than I. But he's got some good stuff on YouTube, and then he's got a trading group and some other stuff too. But in fact, all this, like the Wyckoff stuff, I got from him back in the last bull run, back when I didn't know what the hell. But I think I'm equipped now. Like I'm mentally ready. Like I had a buddy who was calling me and he's like, bro, are you watching Bitcoin like every minute? And I was like, no. He's like, but it's breaking up. I was like, yeah, but we've been waiting for this for 2 years and it's only 13K. Like, that's cool, but we know it's going 6 figures plus. So, you know, it's whatever. But he was like, he could not put his phone down. He couldn't focus. He was itchy. But if you kind of have the right mindset, everything's cool. Like, it's not going to take your life away. And just be careful with margin trade. That would be my end of my soapbox rant. Okay. The last thing I wanted to go over, but there's 2 things, and then I'm going to end the crypto segment, play some games with City. One is PayPal. PayPal has announced they have entered the cryptocurrency market. They will allow their customers to buy and sell Bitcoin. There's some fine print to all this, but you know, do your own research, check it out. Punchline is Venmo, PayPal, you know, how many of your friends use that in their own life and now they can actually buy it? Okay. The masses are coming. All right. So do you want to be the guy? Are you trying to buy down in the disbelief, hope, maybe even the optimism phase? Or you want to be the guy buying euphoria to then wait another 2 to 3 year bear market? Because guys like me and Schmitcoin, we've been waiting for where we are now since back in here. Like we've just been sitting and waiting. So I guarantee you, we will be the guys to buy when people are capitulating, because that's where our head's at. And you got to like kind of program yourself to be there. So PayPal is going to bring all the people who will buy the next run, like that section of the next bull run, like guaranteed. Where the billion-dollar whales were the ones to buy here and sell to those masses. So they're the ones raining down their liquidity to end the next uptrend. So be like the whales, ride their wake. All right, so that was number 1. Last thing is, this is something new that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. It's the MVRZ Z-Score, and it is the realized cap divided by market cap minus realized cap divided by some standard deviation. And what's really interesting in this is it has literally called the top of every single bull run. So as we gear into the next bull run, I'll be watching this just like I watch Hashrate, just like I watch Bitcoin Days Destroyed, a number of other things, these metrics. And at some point, they will all align, guaranteed, and that will be the top. So we'll keep our eye on it and hopefully be ready for it when it comes. But as you can see, these red spikes are what we're looking for. So these red spikes coincide with the highs. And just like December 17th of December 7th, 2017. So let's just do like a quick check. December 7th. The high was 16,000. Not too bad, considering the all-time high was 20,000 for like 3 days. You know, it was above that point, I mean, for 3 days, 4 days. So not too bad at all. So not only will it tell us the top, but it will also give us a very nice visual of kind of where we are during the macro bull run. This is just something else. Go from the minnow to the whale mentality. Yes. Like, you want to be the little suction cuppy guys that are like, you know, on sharks and whales and shit like that. You want to be that guy. And when you see big dicks making moves, you're like, yes. The remora. Yeah, exactly. You want to hook on and rock and roll. Okay. So Dave Portnoy is hilarious because he represents a lot of dumb money. Because he's got his like day trading army and all this shit. I'm going to be watching him to see if he basically buys the top, because I think he will. So he exited. I wanted to check this real quick. He entered the market mid-August. And then 8 days later he sold. Okay, so let's go check this out real quick, and then I'll conclude this segment. So I haven't looked at this ahead of time or anything. Let's just kind of see what's what. So he entered the market mid-August. So literally in here. And then let's call it like the 16th, 17th. So I bet he was in this candle. And then 8 days later, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He sold in here. So he sold, let's kind of be reasonable and just give him middle of the candles. He lost about 7%. And then I remember hearing him gloat. Because he did not sell down here. But he sold in here, and he was like, ha ha, I told you it was a scam. Look at me saving money. Okay, look where it is now. And then he tweeted out, nobody dances on graves like the Bitcoin people. That was today.
I'll tell you one thing. I follow so many Bitcoin people and crypto. It's like Rico Bosco's hype team. When Bitcoin starts moving, I mean, they do the lambada all over the internet. They're just in like the conga line. The Bitcoin people like doing the dun, 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 1300, dun, 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 1400. Like we're all gonna get rich together. The parabolic guy, Pomp, the Winklevosses. I mean, they're just running around, sucking dicks, doing the lambada, doing the Congo. I'll tell you one thing. I follow so many Bitcoin people.
Pretty damn funny. Okay, so here's my takeaway from this. Keep an eye on when he buys. Watch for when he buys again. Because you may want to be thinking about exiting literally a day or two after he buys. But he's not buying right here. I love to see it. And what's more, a lot of the margin traders are either they were shorting, they got screwed on this recent move up. This is in recent time frames, or they're relatively flat right now. So what I hope to see is just some kind of grind sideways and the bears to come back out and be like, nah, this is bullshit. We're going back down. That's my prayer. We'll see what happens. But for now, what I leave you with is keep your eye on the weekly 20 EMA. Oh, that is not the right chart. B. Keep our eye on the weekly 20. And we'll just see what happens.